Hi guys, my name is Roger, and I'm building a mid-engine supercar in the basement of my home. Let's take a look at what I've been working on this week. Okay guys, we're going to do something a little different this week. I am going to weigh the car. I'm going to weigh it two ways. I'm going to weigh it like it sits, and I'm going to weigh it with the doors and windshield and back glass and everything in. And what I want you to do is pause the video, go down below in the comments section, type in what your best guess is for a weight, come back up, unpause the video, and let's see what the car actually weighs. I'm curious as to who can guess the closest weight. And what I'm going to do is write my guess down on a piece of paper over here on the table, and then we'll come back afterwards and check and see how close I am also. But I borrowed a set of scales, and I'm going to set this thing up. I'm going to jack it up one end at a time, front end and back end, and lower it down on the scales, and then we'll come back and see what the car actually weighs. So let's go see what it is. Okay, here's where I wrote down my guess. 1,720 pounds. And I'm going to tell you that I was off by a lot more than I thought I would be. But here are the numbers. You can see the total weight is 2,284 pounds. Not quite sure why the left front and the right front are such a huge difference, but they are. Could be the rings set up differently. But anyway, weighs more than I thought. I'm going to go ahead and set the doors, windshield, and back glass on this and see what the weight comes up to then. And I'll check back with you in the video. Okay, I have the windshield, the back glass, and both doors with the door glasses sitting on the car, and the total weight £2,390. A little more than I was expecting, but probably in line. I was hoping to come out with a finished car of around 2,800 pounds. Anything that or less I would be happy with, and it may still be possible. I'm not quite sure what a carbon fiber body is going to weigh. There's a lot of other components still left to go besides that too, so 2,800 may or may not be achievable, but if it's not, it'll be what it is. But just wanted to update you on the weight, and I guess now we know, and let's get on with the rest of the video. So just as a footnote, after I removed the car from the scales, I realized why the left front was so much heavier than the right front. And it is because the shocks, you can see I have the collar on this shock, ran up several threads. And this shock on the right front is only up maybe half as many threads. So I have most of the weight on the left front with the way the shocks are adjusted. And I didn't even realize that. It's been a long time since I installed them, but I'll need to take and run those back to being closer to even, or actually they need to be perfectly even. Well, I'm continuing to work on these wiring harnesses, and I'm going through and taking each harness one at a time and thinning them down, removing the circuits and the wires, connectors, and everything that I don't think I'm going to need. Basically turning a thick, fat wiring harness into a skinny one, putting it on a diet. And this is the last one, and I wanted to kind of show you what I'm doing. I'm starting on one end and working my way across, removing all of the loom and tape and everything that's on these wires, removing each connector that I don't need, each wire that I don't need, fishing them back through. As I come along, you can see I have some wires here that I've tied into a knot, and they'll come back to these connectors. They'll need to be removed up to the connector. And as I come down, working my way to this end, you can see this bunch of wires here. These are all being removed, so I'm having to slowly chase them all the way back to the other end of the harness, which I'm almost there. A lot of this stuff is going to, there's all kinds of stuff. Telecommunications lines, there is XM satellite receiver, a radio receiver, all of the CAN bus and line bus connectors and wires are all leaving. And as I'm almost finished with these 3 different sets of wiring harnesses, this is what I have removed. So this is an amazing amount that we have removed of unnecessary stuff. There's a chance I might have removed something that I'm going to need, but if that's the case, hopefully I can run a new wire and connect it back up. I have left on every wire that I have removed off of a connector, I have left enough wire here for me to be able to strip and crimp or solder or crimp, whichever way I go, back on a new wire just in case. Once I know all of those are not going to be needed, I'll cut them off flush with the pin or put some heat shrink on them or something just to make sure they can't short out or there's no problem in the future with doing that. But I wanted to leave enough there just in case I find something I shouldn't have cut and I need to come back and splice a wire in. And there will be some wires I need to add back in just for other things anyway. There'll be some lighting and some radio connections, speakers, power wires, things like that. That'll be standalone from another system, not the factory stuff, and I'll have to wire all that back in. But just wanted to show you this before I finished pulling this big bunch of wires out the other end, just kind of show you roughly how much I am removing. It's a tremendous amount. But let's get back to work. Well, that's going to be about it for this week's video. I have a couple things to show you before we go. I purchased this. This goes to a some General Motors car or truck. I don't even remember what it's supposed to fit. It's not for the Corvette, but I like this a little better. I'm going to use this if I can make it work for my air conditioner controls. It's a little bit smaller than the Corvettes, and it looks like it's a little bit more rugged, and I like the look of it. So this will mount in this general location here somewhere in the panel, and hopefully I can make that work, and that should look really nice. And above that will be like a tablet style screen with the radio, GPS, cameras, and everything built into it. And I've been looking around, haven't made a purchase yet, but that should be something in the near future since it's part of the wiring. I'm trying to get all the wiring components here so I can start doing the wiring here very soon. And speaking of wiring, I'm still working on this mess here in the floor. I've been working on it on and off all week for several hours, trying to bypass a lot of these systems. You can see the schematics that I have laying around here of everything. I'm trying to jumper and bypass some of these safety features. There is different things like theft deterrent features and steering column locks, and I forget, there was a long list of things that I have removed. I'm trying to bypass and get this to work, but quite honestly, it's not looking good so far. I may not be able to use any of this, and I may wind up, this is basically the computer that controls all of the inputs and outputs, and if I can't make that work somehow, I haven't given up quite yet, but I'm close. If I can't make that work somehow, most likely I'll use this this Dominator ECU, because it has inputs and outputs also. It does the same thing basically, and it is programmable, so it may be an easier alternative for me. I don't know yet. I'm going to work on this wiring harness here on the floor maybe one more day. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'm going to work on it tomorrow for a few hours, and if I cannot see anything promising happening, then I'm going to switch over and try to run a circuit through this, one input and output, and just see how easy it is to program. And if it's as easy as it looks like it will be, I may just switch over and rewire everything and use this. But that's going to be about it for this week, and I will see you guys again next week where I have another surprise for you. I'm going to hopefully reveal what the car body design is looking like. It has started, and also the name of the car. Some of you may have already picked that out from various little secrets that I've thrown in, but if not, I have a name for the car, what I'm going to call it, and I'll reveal that next week. See you guys again in 1 week.